We have to talk about Manchester City and Arsenal and just react to that real quick because that game happened yesterday. And like I said, Alexis is I think he's flying back from Manchester probably right now.
Arsenal's paying for a private jet to get him out of the country. Could he have brought any worse luck to them?
So, shouts to CBS because they really did. It was a very nice surprise and very nice thing to fly Alexis out and Charlie Davies. And it was Charlie Davies' first ever Arsenal game, which is already wild. Yeah. I mean, he was busy being a professional footballer.
It's hard to go to games on the weekend when you're also playing on the weekend.
Damn, I got a Revs game. Damn, I really wanted to watch Arsenal. But I mean, it was a very important game. Obviously, the Premier League title is at stake, and my initial reaction watching this game was just Arsenal were just so poor. I mean, it is Manchester City, but other teams in the Premier League have given Manchester City a tougher time than Arsenal did. Arsenal couldn't. They could barely connect passes. There really weren't any ideas, and you could really sense it. A team that earlier in the season, especially, I think Arsenal were second or third in coming back from losing positions.
Yeah. They did it 4 days ago.
Right. Well, essentially I forgot which game it was, but there was one game where Arsenal gave up an early goal and Odegaard was just like, all right, everybody, forget it. Yeah. Let's just keep going. And they ended up winning that game. And this didn't feel like one of those games. There is a lack of camaraderie that we saw earlier in the season with Arsenal that made everyone believe like, oh, they're really going to do this. They're going to win this league because they gave Odegaard the captain's armband. They just felt like a different kind of Arsenal, and Manchester City really slapped them right back into reality because I was making this comparison. They looked like it would look like an FA Cup match with a Premier League team against a championship side.
Welcome to Arsenal instead of welcome to Wrexham.
Okay, those young upstarts, Arsenal Football Club.
In fairness, they are young. Like, this is a young team. You mentioned Odegaard as captain. Like, they brought Xhaka back into the team, I think, because they understood this moment. But a lot of the essential pieces of this team are new to this moment. Yeah. And you're not playing in Champions League, so you don't really bring that high-level experience currently. And I think you look at a team, I would say the best way to describe the ideas of how they were going to get a result in Manchester was just by hanging on. And you never want to start a match there. Like, when you start a match being like, can we get to the corner flag and get 90 minutes out of the way? It's just not a positive mental way to go through a match. And I think because of what's happened over the last few weeks, they were in this spot of like, we don't feel like we can take it to them. We don't feel like we can open up and attack them. I look at this Arsenal team, I think they're very thin. They've been lucky with injuries, which I think is why they've been able to maintain where they are, but they don't play a ton of players. And like, it's a long season. Yeah. It is. I saw a graphic that came out. I think Premier League teams play the second most games on average over the course of a season for any top division in the world, behind Brazil, because Brazil has like 37 tournaments, which is insane. You got to play a town, state, governor, everything. And they're playing the Wall Bounce Cup out on Long Island.
The state legislature cup.
Yeah, exactly. They're still playing Memorial Day, come into the tournament. And then it's the EPL because you've got Leagues Cup, you've got multiple European competitions teams can be in, you've got obviously FA Cup as well. So I do think you're looking at an Arsenal team that I think ran out of steam. At the same time, you look at a City team that has brought in a few pieces over the last few years that has hit their top form now.
Right.
So it's like the two directions are opposite. The hope to me, just as a neutral who's like, I would love to not see Man City win again. Like, let's do something new.
Of course, that we don't want to see Bayern win again. Yeah.
So your hope was that the one-on-one matchup, when it became not, we're dropping points in the league, we're watching them on the standings, we're watching the scoreboard. One-on-one was like, we're going to stand up and be counted now and like counter their punches and like we're going to get the result in Manchester and then figure it out from there. But that early goal sort of put that all away.
Yeah, they just, a lot of people were saying, Alexis had mentioned like about, everybody was like covering for Rob Holding, and it's like, bro, they were all bad. I mean, they were covering. They all had to support each other. They were
Alexis
all
is just pointing out Rob Holding, who also scored the only
I know.
goal.
It's just like he had to mark. Do you also know he had to mark Erling Haaland, right? Okay, so anybody would worry about which defender was marking Erling Haaland, and Erling Haaland was just spectacular. He only scored one goal. He got, I believe, he got one assist, but. I mean, the shots. If Ramsdale doesn't have one of the games of his life, this could have been a 7-0, like, Liverpool, Manchester United.
The chance Haaland like picks up at midfield, starts running, goes 35 yards, and I don't remember who was defending it. They couldn't decide left or right. Like, they didn't know which way to send him.
Yeah.
And he's moving so quickly, and he's so big that you can't just bump him because you're probably not going to get him off the ball. And you don't have enough time to make the decision you want to make. Yeah. And so then Haaland's like, I'll just go left and like rip a shot to the low corner that Ramsdale saved. And it was one of those moments, like you said, where we've seen it. We saw like Barcelona do this to Real Madrid back in the day under Pep, the Jose Mourinho teams. We've seen Man City do this to Man U a couple times of like, you can feel the 7 goals in a game where you're like, oh, they're going to score on everything. And I guess, as you said, Ramsdale held it together.
I want to play this. We'll end this, this sad saga for Arsenal right here. I want to play. I don't know what Alexis sent. We'll hear it live right now. I'm curious what he's going to say, but we'll react to it right now.
I mean, you guys saw what happened, okay? You're probably wondering, where am I? Your boy's on a train to London. Why? Because me and this guy, we gonna drown our sorrows, baby. Congratulations, Manchester City. Enjoy your 55th trophy. Oh, wait, I'm not at work anymore.
All right, there he is, just beating up Charlie Davies. We love to see it.
I will tell you, drowning sorrows with Charlie Davies, that's going to be a lot of expensive red wines. Charlie has a particular taste. I assume London's a good place to celebrate that.
I agree, yeah. All right, look, I feel for Arsenal fans. I feel for Alexis and Charlie,
but your team's about to get relegated, so you don't feel bad, right?
There's not too much sympathy. I believe with the I forgot what loss with Nottingham Forest with their win that confirms that Arsenal will be in Champions League.
Oh, really?
Next season. Right. So that which is essentially which is what Arsenal fans wanted. I think winning a trophy would have been the like, oh wow, this is we didn't expect this at all.
It would have been early in the process of like, we're getting better. Mikel Arteta has been here, young players, whatever. I think this year would have been a year early, but at the same time, you don't get in these situations a lot, right? And like, how often does Chelsea spend $700 million to be terrible? How often does Tottenham fire their manager? I guess all of those things happen a lot.
Exactly. Okay, I mean, look, we've seen this script before, and that was like 8 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like, they just keep rehashing the same story. I don't know why. I understand. Look, I think now that since Premier League, just the money is so high, and what position you finish in it could be an extra £4 or £5 million or whatever. It's the leash is so unbelievably short for a man. You're not there to like figure it out. Yeah. That's not like. Maybe 20 years ago, that was like kind of how it was.
So Alex Ferguson gets hired, does nothing for 10 years, ends as the greatest manager in history.
It is just straight up. You better, it's an incredible level of gambling. I mean, there's just so much at stake that you can't. I mean, we mentioned Chelsea, but they're going through managers. It's just like, if somebody just slightly words an email wrong to Todd Bowley, it's just like, wow, we gotta get rid of this guy. That's it.
I know 6 more people who could do this job. Let's bring one of them in.
And they're each gonna have an opportunity to coach this team. A wild year, obviously, so far in the Premier League. But who knows? Maybe Manchester City could collapse, and they have those 2 games in hand.
Yeah. Do you think they win the treble?
It looks like it, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, they look like definitively the best team in the world.
Okay.